Hi, and welcome back. We're working on exercise 16 of the practice test, and a chef has 2 3/8 pound salmon fillet. He slices that fillet into 4-ounce servings. How many pounds is in each serving? Write your answer as a fraction in simplest form. So when I look right here, I have got 2 full pieces, and then I've also got 3/8. And the 3/8 can also be considered, if you look at it closely, it's going to be considered 1/4 and then another piece left over. So when I look at this, a pound is actually 16 ounces. So 16 divided by 4 is going to give me 4 ounces. So each one of my steaks is going to be worth 4 ounces, or it's going to be worth 1/4 because I'm dividing each one of these into fourths. The second part of my question is how many of these steaks will be used, or how many of these fillets can I get? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we already decided that right there is one more, and that's going to be 9. So we can get 9 different fillets out of it. Now, this next piece is a little tricky because it's not asking us how many pieces will be left over. It's asking us how many ounces will be left over. And if this piece right here is 4 ounces, let me take it like this. And if I put this piece on top of it, let's see if I can get that. Let's keep that right there. And you can see that half of that is going to give me 1/8. So if this is 4 ounces, half of 4 ounces will give me 2 ounces. So there'll be 2 ounces left over. Okay, so we're still in big ideas, and we're on exercise number 17. And it says this: the number on a football field indicates 10-yard increments. So we have 10, 20, 30. You walk around the perimeter, the outside edges of the football field between the pylons. You walk a distance of 306 and 2/3 yards. Find the area and the perimeter of the indicated regions. Write your answer as a mixed number if necessary. Okay, so we are looking at our next problem. I'm going to skip that last one because in this format, it's just going to be way too complicated, and I'm just not going to go there with you guys. So let's go down to number 18 and just assume you got an A on that last question. All right, you're purchasing a shirt. Your shirt is $9.59, and you're also buying a hat for $15.99. You give the clerk $30 with a 20 and a 10 and complete a verbal model for each. So the amount of change that you're going to get is going to equal the amount that you give, the amount of money that you give, minus the cost of the hat plus the cost of the shirt. So these two have to be added up, the cost of the hat and the shirt. You take that away from how much money you actually gave them, which was the 30, and then the amount of change that you would receive. So now you want to figure out how much money would you actually get back. So you have 9 plus 9 is going to give us 18 because we have the cost of the shirt plus the cost of the hat. 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 5 is going to give me 15. 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 5 is going to give me 15. 1 plus 1 is 2. So now I gave the clerk $30 and I have to put the 00 because I have numbers in the percentage, or excuse me, in the decimal places. So now I've got 25.58 and I've got to borrow. So now I'm going to be becoming 9, 9, oops, and a 10. So I've got 10 take away is going to give me 2, 9 take away 5 is going to give me 4, 9 take away 5 is going to give me 4. And so my change that I should receive is $4.42. Exits on an interstate are numbered consecutively. The distance between 12 and 13 is 2.7 miles. The distance between 13 and 14 is 0.9. Farther than the distance between 12 and 13. The distance between exit, The distance between exit 14 and exit 15 is blank miles. That's our actual question. Okay, we're back. This is a little bit tricky, and the only way I can do it is to walk you through it. Okay, so the distance between exit 12 and 13 is 2.7. So what I did was I wrote down 12 to 13, and I wrote equals 2.7. Then next to that, I wrote 13 to 14 is 0.9, farther than 12 to 13. So I had to take my 2.7 and I had to add this 2.9 to it because I had to include both of those two numbers. And what I ended up with there was 3.6. Then it says take your 13 and 15 is 6.8 miles further than 12 to 14. Well, 12 to 14 was 3.6, so now I had to add the 6.8 to 3.6, and that gave me 10.4. Then they want to know only the exit between 14 and 15, so I had to go back in and take away my 0.9, which then gives me 9.5. And 9.5 is my answer. And you're so lucky we're at their last and final question. Okay, so now you are paying $9.70 for 2.5 pounds of roasted peanuts. You buy 1.25 pound of almonds for $8.55 per pound. How much less do the roasted peanuts cost per pound than almonds? This is a rate. You have to figure out the rate, and the rate is a fraction. So you have to figure out what is the cost of 1 pound, because you can't figure out the cost per ounce or per pound without figuring out first its rate. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I've got $9.70. That's my total amount divided by the amount per pound, or amount of pounds that I have. So this right here is the amount of pounds I have, and this is the cost per pound. The first thing I notice is that I've got zeros, so I'm going to get rid of those zeros, and that makes me a little bit happier. When I look at 25 into 97, 97 is really close to 100, and I know that there's about 4 in 100, 4 quarters or 4 25s, so I know it's going to be somewhere close to that. So the first thing I have to do is I have to make my 25 into 9.7. Well, when I do that, I can't divide a decimal by a decimal. So I have to get rid of this decimal and move it over to here. When I do that, I move this over to here. I also move that decimal. So I've got my big fat decimal up here. And now I'm going to do my division. 25 goes into 9 no times, can't happen. But 25 can go into 97. And again, I know it can't be 4 because the 4 would give me 100 solid, and this is not quite 100, so it's going to give me 3 times. And 3 times 25 I know is 75. So now I'm just going to do my subtraction, and this is going to be an 8. Oop, I don't know why I just borrowed from there. Sorry. 7 take away 5 is 2, and 9 take away 7 is 2. So it's almost 22. So 220, 25 can go into 100 4 times. 25 can go into 200 8 times. So I'm going to put up my 8. 8 times 5 is going to give me 40. And 8 times 2 is 16. And 4 is going to give me 20, which is going to give me 20 coming down. And then I bring down another 0 because remember I can put as many zeros up here as I want to. And 25 goes into 200 8 times. So my answer per pound on the first set of nuts is $3.88 per pound. That's also my unit rate. Unit rate is always how much is one of an item. So our first question says, how much less do the roasted peanuts cost per pound than the almonds? Well, when I look over here, I don't have to do anything because they're telling me that per pound it's $8.55. So what I do is I take my per pound of the peanuts and I subtract it from my per pound of the almonds. And the hardest thing that I have to do with this is making sure that my decimal is lined up, and then I do the subtraction correctly. So 8 can't go into 5. So I have to borrow from over here, and 15 take away 8 is going to give me 7. And again, 8 can't go into 14. So I take this away and I make 14 take away 8 is going to give me the 6, and then 7 take away 3 is going to give me 4. So the difference between the cost of the almonds and the cost of the peanuts is $4.67. Okay, so now what they want to know is we have bought for $8.55. We have paid for 1.4 pounds. So 1 pound is going to be $8.55. And now we want to figure out how much is a quarter of a pound of that. So we're going to divide 4 into 8.55. And here it doesn't matter where our decimal is. Well, actually it does, because we still have 0.4. So we're going to divide it over here. So now 4 goes into 8 2 times. And that's going to give us 8. And then 4 goes into 5 1 time. And that's going to give us 4. Take away would be 15. And 4 is going to go into 15 3 times. So we're going to be about roughly $2.13 plus the $8.15 or $8.55 that we've already spent. So it's going to be roughly about $10.68.